Let
Still, he is
Savio
not
come in.
conducting any
Savio,
press.
it is quite clear that virtually every political party is playing safe because of the influence of the Lingayat community and because of the elections coming.
Well,
No, it is incorrect.
Unfortunately, that's the truth, and it's extremely sad. And I'll tell you why it's sad. And this has got nothing to do with any religion. You know, you could be a seer, you could be a priest, you could be a mullah, you could be a sadhu. The point of the matter is when people put their trust and their faith in you, especially young children, if you misuse that, and there are allegations of you misusing that trust, abusing that trust, then in the fairness of the religious beliefs that you come from and the religious position that you have as a spiritual leader, shouldn't you not have the conscience to go ahead and work with the investigative agency to prove those allegations wrong? Why is it that members of different religious orders, Hindus, Christians, Muslims, when a religious leader is brought to task and questioned about molestation, the believers come and start creating this greatness aura over these religious leaders, and the people who are alleging the crime are actually left to be victimized further? Why can it not be the other way around? Why can't these leaders, the spiritual leaders, for example, in the Bishop Franco Mulakil's case, the nun came to the church for a year and a half at different levels, bringing her complaints, but not a single church leader at that point
Has
of time
ever supported
even
her
listened to a
till
complaint.
today.
Right? She went all the way to the Vatican.
Yes.
She then went to the Kerala police and filed the case. He got acquitted by the lower court, but the high court is still looking at the case. The point is why? Why was she victimized? Why are these people victimized? A spiritual leader is a spiritual leader. I give it. And you have every right to believe in him or her. But why? How does that change the allegations if it was for a common man?
Can I go across to Nirmal Kaur? Ramaswamy Mayappan is an advocate also joining us. Nirmal Kaur, in this case, as one of our guests said, the allegations are of a period gone by. The complaint is not quite immediate. And it is also over a period of time, as we have seen in many such cases that come to light, including Franco Mulakal's case. Now, usually the question is raised as to why the complaint is late, although we can understand as ordinary beings how difficult it is for women to make up their minds, especially minors, that they will go ahead with the complaint. You know, the whole system and the power equation is so against them in such situations. But I want to understand from you as an IPS officer, how difficult will it be for the police to even make a case in this case? Because as you said, medical evidence, etc. has to be more immediate. This is a case of over a period of time, and that to an elapsed period of time.
You know, when you wield a position of authority, it is very difficult to muster courage to go against you. And here, you know, so many times you see incest or many things are happening over the years. And they, you know, they see after years they come out, if at all they come out.
Yes.
So similarly, this person's power, you know, the power balance is such that the victim is hapless in front of this big, you know, seer. In front of, he wields such authority, such power, such a position in the group, in the society, that it's very difficult to make even an allegation against. Maybe to gather that courage, it took years to gather the courage to come out against him. And
but
maybe
ma'am, how difficult do you think will be, you know, just launching an investigation and making a tight case in this case, given the nature of the allegations, you know, being over a period of time?
Because I see no reason to distrust the version of the victim, because I mean, like, I'm sure it is not a fake allegation. And at least the medical examination will show many things. It's not an immediate rape. At least if she's habituated to that kind of behavior, of she's a virgin, all that can be very easily established. And I think it makes out a good case for investigation.
Okay.
And
you feel confident that if the police's heart is right, and if it is done right, then a tight case can be made against the seer.
Culprit will get to see the...
Okay.
You know,
Ramaswamy Mayappan has joined us a little bit late, but what's your view? As an advocate, first of all, has the police not been guilty of not following appropriate procedure, even if they're not bound by law, as some of our lawyer, you know, panelists are suggesting? There is a loophole, but should they have not arrested the seer immediately to set the right precedent, to ensure there is no victim threatening, no abuse of power, no, you know, alteration with the evidences? And secondly, given the nature of the allegations, how strong a case do you think can be made out legally?
Okay, so I'll go on step by step. First, I don't have the very specifics of the case, how the investigation is going, except for what all of us have in the public domain. So with that, I don't want to get to the extent of blaming the law enforcement agency. My general instinct is to first trust the law enforcement agency in what they're doing and how they're proceeding forward. So that I will keep. Keeping that as my caveat, I will go ahead and say there are two things that I find faulty here. One is not in the arrest, but in the delay in the investigation process in itself, in terms of the questioning. Through the CWC, the Child Welfare Committee, there was questioning that did take place, but complete questioning and subsequent evidence handling, subsequent inquiries of other parties has been delayed, which is something in a POCSO matter will have to be done within 30 days and 120 days. So it's very time bound. And the time that they've taken already is much beyond what's provided under the Act. That's one. Two is that in terms of how they're handling public issues, in terms of handling the second complaint, they can't use that as a cover to saying that is why there is delay in handling the first complaint. Both are two independent complaints. In fact, there are two separate investigative teams to handle them. Two investigating agencies or investigating officers should be able to identify matters independently. They can't use one as a escape route for the other.
Right.
That's the second reason. But now going on the issue of arrest is not mandatory. I think one of the other speakers also clearly said arrest is the option of the investigating agency if the person is not cooperating. So if there is no cooperation,
Even
if they
in
do not
POCSO?
participate in the investigation, if they do not participate in the questioning and so on, then there is a necessity to seek arrest. And you can do that through the court or independently in an offense of this nature in a cognizable matter. You can take the arrest on your own and then produce him in court after all.
Ramaswamy Mayappan, we
yes.
believed, and some experts are saying that in POCSO, an arrest must happen.
It is not mandatory even on that. I think the inquiry is mandatory, the investigation is mandatory. The extent of the inquiry leading to the primary accused is also necessary.
Okay.
That it's an earlier delay. That I'm not in doubt with. Arrest is never mandatory. The Supreme Court has repeatedly said
And how
arrest
confident?
is not a given.
Okay, and how confident are you that given that these allegations precede a certain amount of time and they're also over a period of time,
True.
how
Yes.
easy or difficult is it to make a tight case in such a matter?
Okay. So two things. With POCSO, there is already a presumption of guilt under Section 29 and 30.
Yes.
So therefore, it is not like other criminal matters where the prosecution will have to prove the case and say that so-and-so is guilty. Here now it's for the accused to come out and demonstrate that they are not guilty. Therefore, I think the presumption relatively to other criminal matters here is not going to be that hard for the investigating. What the investigating across the come under the POCSO. What can a minimal verbal language that was used, which is not appropriate, all the way to a physical assault, to penetration, everything without permission is included under the POCSO Act. So it is for the law enforcement agency to be able to demonstrate each stage and each issue independently. If they can do that in their inquiry process and file a final report, then I think it shouldn't be a hard case, because then it is for the defense to actually demonstrate. And what happened within close